What you strapping? Well, this is a H2O Tiburon. It's relatively new. Received it last Friday. Took about 4 or 5 weeks from order to delivery. It's because this is all hand custom made. Not like hand milled or anything like that, but they got you can customize this watch. You have the base stainless steel case. Now they have it actually in bronze, and you get a bezel. It's nice. It's a good one that ratchets really nicely. I believe they also have that in bronze as well now, and you actually get additional dial colors. Originally there was just this black and a blue, which is actually really nice, which I was going to get originally, but I decided to go with a more classic look with the black. Yeah, and then now they have a kind of a green and a brownish color because it goes well with their bronze, but you can get any of these dial colors now with any style you want, how you want to build it. There's a number. I gotta check the site and I'll do a full review of this later, but there is a number of bezel options. This is a sapphire one that I got with the I think they call this the 60-minute or 60-second scale. They have a 15, where it's at 15, 45, 30. It's a little bit less marked. They have ceramics. They have also a stainless steel in a number of styles. Again, the dials, they have different colors, those four that I mentioned, but within those they have at least two different styles of the dial configuration. They have this one, and the other one is kind of like a lot of people refer to it as a Eterna, like Kontiki style. You probably will recognize it as the same style that you might see in like vintage Zodiac Seawolves. With the triangles and the numbers in them. At the 12396, you'll know which one I'm talking about. Very classic vintage style dive style. You have choice of handsets. I think there's at least 5 different ones. I went with my configuration here. I really wanted to go with the look of a vintage Triton Triton Spirotechnic, which was back in the 60s to 70s, I believe, is when they were made. Excuse me. Definitely smaller, 37 milliliters. This is 42. But everything else, they got, I think, the case design scaled up just proportionally right. It's hinged, lug system that acts as a crown guard. For, as you can see here, it's like a bullhead design with the crown at the 12. They actually have this like a sapphire, or maybe it was Bakelite back then. I'm not sure, but it's a very similar look to this bezel with the large first number and the double digit. So the 1, the 2, 3, as you can see, are larger. It's kind of neat style. It stands out. That's the most important kind of number that you want to read anyways between the two numbers paired to each other. The style of dial is definitely very Triton styled. Again, more along the lines of their vintage Spirotechnic design, where the indices, at least the round ones that you see, are a little bit more inward as compared to the modern Triton Subphotique, where a little more outer along the outer perimeter. I guess it kind of looks somewhat like a Submariner, for lack of better terms, but they got the baton indices at the 12, 6, and 9, and in this case 3, but normally they would have a date window there, so that's maybe what's different as well. But it's very similar to the vintage style, and the hands are very Triton, with a large minute hand with the arrow at the tip, and a little bit more diminutive hour hand, because the minute's more important, and the lollipop running seconds. That really hasn't changed much between the vintage and the more modern one. They still have the style, and I think other dive watches probably have this style too, but for me, this is the one I associate with this watch, this style. And yeah, it's very thin. It's about 12, just under a hair under 12 millimeters. I believe they say 11.9 millimeters thick. This is with the sapphire case back, which is actually thicker, so it has a 500-meter water resistance, which is great. If you get the solid one, it's a little bit thinner at 11.4, I believe is what they said, but you get 300 meters water resistance, which isn't bad, but I figure what the heck, is 12 is still, thickness is still good, and you get display back and that higher water resistance. Domed sapphire crystal, as you can see, very nice distortions around the edges. And this thing really looms up really well too. It's using BGW9 in the bezel and the hands and the dial. Very active. Yeah, this thing definitely lasts throughout the night, no problem. It's, of course, it's not as intense as Seiko Lume Bright, but it's not far off for BGW9, and it's definitely will be more than adequate for long viewing purposes overnight in darkness. And that's pretty much it. It sounds like a review already, but I'll get more in depth into this. Especially, this came with 5 strap options. It was a pre-order special. I did not get it as a pre-order, but they still had some extra stock, only a few, and they were able to get me the set with it. So it comes with this standard, I think, as the black strap option, leather. It's very nice, handmade Germany. And there are 4 other ones. A nice mesh style, another brown, like kind of distressed leather strap. What else is there? 2-piece NATO, and what else is there? I'm drawing a blank. I think there is one more leather strap too. Oh yeah, there is one that's black that's perforated. That's not bad. It's 22 millimeter lugs, and it would take straight end links if you have a mesh or a bracelet. I do have other options for this, which I will definitely show off and try. So look forward to seeing more of this in future episodes, for sure. But yeah, speaking of the NATO that came with it, it came with a 2-piece, and I noticed, and I was thinking that someone mentioned that the hinge lug system may not be that great with the regular NATO strap. Just the way it runs through, and the whole physics or mechanics of the way most NATO straps work and attach on, it can be on there, but I think what it does is it pulls that hinge lug down or inwards more, and it's wearable, but it doesn't look as good. Probably I'll have to try it to know for myself, but that's what I've been told. So luckily I don't have a lot of NATO options for this anyways that I got, so if I did try it, see what happens. But if it doesn't work, I'll probably, unless I need it for something else, I'll probably do what someone else did, is probably modify it, cut it in half in some way, and fold it over, run a spring bar through the ends, and attach it as a 2-piece instead, or just buy a 2-piece. I don't know, see if it's even worth the trouble. Anyways, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed looking at this. I've been really wanting a Triton Sub Boutique, the new modern version, for a while, but those are at least $4,000, more or less mid 4,000s or so. Expensive, but they're very, very nice. Maybe it's kind of a grail still, but maybe someday when I've saved up. But this fulfills that role, and this actually has, the case shape is different than that. That's more, actually even more angular. This is actually more, if you look closely at some of the old photos of the vintage models from the 60s, when it was under Triton, the sub Spirotechnic brand and model name, which is actually a little bit smaller because the Sub Boutique is 40, I believe, and that one is 37. It actually looks closer to this case wise, the way the lugs are, believe it or not, kind of rounded at the tips. You see what I mean? If you look at the modern one, it's a little bit more squared off, again more angular, and especially the dial, the way this is done, looks more like the vintage model. than the new ones. But they're all very nice. But that one costs even more. Like last I checked, $8,500 I think for auction for vintage Triton Spirotechnic. So yeah, either way, out of my range. But this is great for about $1,000. I could have upgraded for elaborate grade. Top grade for about another 120, but I figured, elaborate's done me well so far, so I'd save a little bit and all that. So, but so far so good. All right, thanks. Bye.